everybody. How's it going? Karen Bryant here. Welcome to What Had Happened Was. I am here with
Angela Overkill Hill. I figure I should say my nickname too.
You definitely should say your nickname. And if people want to call me KB, that's fine. My name's Karen. But I'm not like a Karen. You know what I mean? I don't complain a lot. I don't bitch people out. I don't ask for the manager.
You don't call the cops on barbecues.
I don't.
She just brings the heat. She brings the heat to the barbecue.
Bring the heat. Well, one of the things about this show that we wanted to do here on What Had Happened Was, and we got a puppy mascot and everything in the back, is just let people know that, let's say maybe you're new to MMA and, there's a ton of podcasts out there. We definitely know that. There's a lot of them, though, that are really kind of inside, and maybe you're a little intimidated. You feel like, I don't know everything yet. So Ange and I want to be sort of a little bit more welcoming to you guys. So if you ever have questions about, what was that move? Or how did that thing work? Or why did this happen? Feel free to tweet us or leave comments here, and we'll answer them. Because, it's hard, Angela, when you're a new fan of something, and you don't want to ask a stupid question when you're at the bar, but, you want to know stuff.
Exactly. And it's so easy to run into that guy who's just like, oh, you don't know? You don't know who that is, or you don't know what that move is. Those guys are everywhere. They always want to act like they have one up on you. They're like the genius of MMA.
Right.
And, most people are casuals. I think 90% of the MMA fans are casual fans. So this is welcoming all of you guys. Come here, ask your dumb questions. There are no dumb questions. There are only what's the thing that
there's
people
no
say?
Stupid questions, just
stupid people.
Stupid people. Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah. We'll go with that. And again, and if you're new to this too, and you're wondering why should I listen to these women? What do they know? Funnily enough, even though I've done this for a long time, I still get that question.
I like the little smug
but I did start
there.
out covering combat sports all the way back in 2005 or 6, covering, I worked with Showtime Championship Boxing for 3.5 years. And in the meantime, started covering MMA, started MMA Heat, been covering MMA since 2007, been working with the UFC since 2012, and I anchor a lot of stuff for them. So I've done a million interviews. And if you look at my Karen Bryant YouTube channel or MMAheat.com, you'll see a ton of stuff. But Angela, you're pretty good too. You're slightly legit, right?
Pretty good. I'm working on it. But I've been training since 2009, I think. Training Muay Thai since then. I went 16-0 in my Muay Thai career, transitioned to MMA, became the first African-American woman to be signed to the UFC, first African-American woman to headline an event. And, I'm pretty good. I'm ranked top, I don't know, maybe 11, maybe 13 now. Yeah. Maybe Mackenzie Dern sneezed and then they moved her up. But
hey, you gotta admit, Mackenzie's getting better and better. Every time out, she's looking better and better.
She's been killing it. Yeah. I don't know why girls keep going to the ground and it's
dude, why would you do that?
Stop. Just punch her.
I know, but she's working with Perillo. She's coming along.
Yeah.
But anyway, folks, we're here for you is basically what we wanted to say. Right. And cheers if you want to bring a beverage. They're always welcome. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Alistair Overeem versus Alexander Volkov. That is coming up. We'll preview that a little bit. There's also Cory Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. Also this weekend, Paige VanZant is debuting in her bare-knuckle boxing against Bryant Hart. So we'll get to a little bit of that too, and break down something, because we figure if you are new to the sport, maybe we should just sort of define either a fight move or thing to you. So today we'll talk sweeps a little bit. But Angela, I'm curious what your take is on Alistair Overeem right now. He's been winning some fights, and he's talking about making a last run for the title. He's a former Strikeforce champ. This is a man who has won every other belt there is except a UFC belt. And I'm just curious what your take is on the Reem at this point in his career.
Man, I really want him to do it. I really want him to get it. It's hard not to want that for him, because he's achieved all these other great things. He's been in the sport for so long. Before I even knew what MMA was, he was winning championships and pride tournaments and all that stuff. He's he's just he just has a wealth of knowledge in him, and you can see him use it in his more recent fights. Like he's really pulling from every source of like his skill set, as opposed to just using his striking, just using his takedown defense. Like he's getting his own takedowns, he's getting on top of people and ground and pounding. Like you really see not older, but just like a more mature more mature version of Overeem, where he's like, okay, this guy isn't going down with one punch, let me use a little bit of everything so I don't get knocked out trying to knock him out.
Yeah, well, that's what I really like about him now. Because it's funny, right? Because if we rewind a little bit, a couple of years ago, people were writing Alistair off. People said he was done. You know, he was too chinny now. He can't take a punch or anything like that. People were really kind of writing him off. And I know for Ben Rothwell, like that was a huge win for him to beat Alistair Overeem. So there is something to be said about the fact that he is still here, and something happened. He either changed his fighting style or whatever. He got smarter or something in there, because the Rosenstruck fight was really tough. I was working that one, and it was a great fight for Alistair all the way up until the very end.
Man, yeah.
I mean, right up until the very end. But so I think he's shown a lot of maturity, and even though now, yes, he doesn't have the pace or whatever that he used to have, he's a very, very smart fighter, and like. I forget the total sum of MMA fights that he's had, but it's like in the 60s or 70s, something like that. Really, really high amount. And I feel like he's forgotten more things than a lot of people have even ever learned about MMA. So I feel like, when these young guys like a Volkov, who is a young guy on the rise, and he has so much going for him, but I still feel that there's that crafty veteran in Alistair that just like, you're not going to throw anything at him that he's never seen.
Exactly. But with Volkov, I think he has maybe like 40 fights or something. So you still have that huge wealth of knowledge. You still have someone who's been kind of getting the better of some of the young up and comers. And man, it really is a compelling fight. It's one of those fights where you have two similar you have two fighters who are at similar career paths. And you want to see which one rises from the two to go on and take on like the new big shot or the younger fighter, and see if he's actually able to do what he set out to do. So it really is a compelling matchup.
And I have a question for you here, because, we'll end up doing this a lot here, I'm sure, on What Happened Was. Is that my instinct is I'm a conversationalist, right? I like to talk and I like to ask a lot of questions. So even though it's a conversation between us, I still will always have that sort of interviewer to fighter question. And for me, the one that, when it comes to Alistair, right? So he had lost to Curtis Blaydes. Alistair knew he had a real wrestling deficit. And, the Alistair of old, he was a little more aloof than the man we see now. Like, I've covered his stuff for a lot of years, and there was times when I was like, I don't know if Alistair really likes me. Like, he was not the warmest guy always. And like, he's half Jamaican too. And I feel like, I've always felt like he kind of reminds me of my brother, and like, I don't know what it is. Like, I always want him to like me for some reason. It's just weird. Whatever. It's just a weird thing. But anyway, he's great. He's great. He's wonderful. But like, he did, I think, over the years mature and change a little bit. And so the maturity it took to call the guy that you lost a fight to and go, bro, can I come train with you? And that's what he did with Curtis Blaydes. They trained together. We saw the Rosenstruck fight, I think, was the first one that they had worked together. And his takedown attempts were, they weren't as fluid yet, but Alistair's really coming together with that. So, Angela, what would it take for you to call somebody you lost to go and train with them? Like, how hard is that for a fighter? Because I think he really deserves a lot of respect for that.
Dude, I'd have to get like smoked, like not just finished like in the first round or something, like something that you could like be like, oh, there was that one moment that I made a mistake, and I'll just fix that one moment. If somebody's just over and over just taking you down, sitting on you, not letting you get up, you start to get up, but it's a trap. They sweep you or they kick your legs out from under you and you get stuck underneath them again. Like, if someone was able to just punk me like that, then I'd be like, hey, I'm pissed, but you gotta tell me what you did. Like, I gotta know. That was just ridiculous. So luckily that hasn't happened to me yet. Right. Hasn't happened to me yet. I haven't been punked completely yet.
Haven't been pwned.
Pond. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that hasn't happened, but I feel like that's a really good thing to do. I mean, I've hit up wrestlers who I feel like could show me just how they're smoking people, like Suarez and not Carla, because I'm I'm gonna fuck you up one day, but she's cool. I like Carla.
She's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really good to be able to get a resource like that. As someone who's just like, this is my game plan. I'm gonna take you down. I don't care how long it takes to do it. This is my game plan every fight.
Yeah.
Someone like Curtis Blaydes is just so good at that, and it's really awesome that he hit him up and went to train with him. And I mean, who's better to teach Curtis Blaydes how to be a better striker too? You know,
exactly.
like you're just creating like the ultimate fighter.
Right. No, exactly. I was just going to say the ultimate fighter. No, exactly. Yeah. Because it is a symbiotic relationship for those two. Because Curtis, what I love about Curtis Blaydes is like whenever he's about to fight, he'll put up a meme or something that's like, yo, are you just going to wrestle after this dude? And he's like, yup. You know what I mean? And
and they're not gonna do
he knows what he's good at.
It.
He knows what he's great at. So good for him. I love it. But yes, obviously that he can round out his arsenal. They're out there in Colorado. Cory Sandhagen also trains out in Colorado. He is in the co-main event. He's taking on Frankie Edgar. And when I look at this fight, Angela, to me, you know, it's one of those fights where it could be a changing of the guard type of thing. Frankie Edgar is the man with, I think, the most fight time in the entire UFC. It's at this point almost up to 7 hours worth of fight time or something.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. And he's just so incredible, former lightweight champ. Like the fact that the man was a champion in a weight class 2 above what he's fighting in now is just incredible to me. And you can never count Frankie out, and this whole new weight class could give him a new lease on life. But with that said, I do believe Cory Sandhagen is the future, and I look at him and I think I see a future champ.
The future versus the answer. Who will it be? It's I don't know. It's a tough one because Frankie, you really want to see him do well as well. Like you know, he probably doesn't have that many hours left.
Right.
In his career, but Sandhagen, he's on a tear, and I think everyone was really surprised when he got kind of dominated by Aljo.
Yeah.
Like no one expected that just because of how he's been progressing so far, and I think if anything, a fight like that is just going to make you way more mean. Like we saw it in this last one. It just makes you way more mean, way more sharp, way more aware of your deficiencies. And then you work on those like a madman because you know how close you are to the top. So this is going to be a really tough one for Frankie to just kind of use his veteranness against.
Well, and the thing that's interesting too, because I was over in Fight Island when Cory fought Marlon Moraes, and at the time, the head kick didn't really look like a knockout blow to me. I was sitting right there, and also going into a fight. A lot of time when you look at Cory, obviously you think he's going to be a submission guy, putting people to sleep, the Sandman, and those long arms and everything. So to see the head kick, it was a surprise to me anyway. And it didn't look like it was enough of a knockout blow, but it was. And afterwards, Marlon was like totally okay with it, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I mean, like I protested more than Marlon did." So Cory is a greater threat than that, but you know he will, I believe, likely have. Although Frankie actually has pretty long arms, I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but Cory might have the height advantage. He'll definitely have the height advantage, the reach advantage there. But my question to you, Angela, is when Frankie was so successful as a 55er, a lot of people, and since we're welcoming new people, what if a new person is like, well, but if he could beat up guys at 55, he should wreck guys at 35. And why isn't that always the case?
Well, what happens when
he dropped weight, Angela? What happened?
What had happened was he started fighting guys who were smaller, yes, maybe not as strong, but they're faster. They have different skill sets. They're faster in their scrambles. They're faster in their boxing and their combinations and striking department. A lot of times, like, I spar all different sizes of people at the gym. And like, if I'm sparring someone who's 2 weight classes bigger than me, I know they're going to be a little slower. I know they're going to be a little easier to like circle and move my head against. But when I spar somebody who's smaller, especially like the 125er guys, I'm just like, what is happening? Like, it's a whirlwind. You feel like you're like in the Tasmanian devil, like tornado, you know?
Yeah.
So like the guys in the lower weight classes, they're fast, man. They're fast.
That's why I love them.
And yeah, Frankie has to, I feel like, approach it a little differently. He has to be faster. He has to use his slickness a little more than stuff that he could do against like a slower weight class. So yeah, they all pose their different threats. It might be a harder weight class for him to make as well. So I always talk about weight cuts taking away a little bit of your chin. Yeah. When you dehydrate yourself, it's a lot harder to recover and get that water back to the brain. So I think like Frankie's been wobbled so many times in his career and just like, you know, stayed up, you know, like I always wonder like, man, if he was like cutting serious weight, would he still have a chin like that? So it's always, there's a lot of questions there. That he might be able to answer in this next fight, you know. But yeah, they all pose like different like pros and cons. And personally, I think it's a safer weight class for him to fight in. But at the same time, you know, you're a little older. These guys are young and fast and springy. So it does give its own challenges.
It does. But there's a part of me, right? Like right now, because I'm thinking the 55ers like, what would have happened if Frankie ever fought Dan Hooker? You know what I mean? Like or something like that.
So
like
big too. Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. God. So like when you look at 55 right now, when you think of like who's there right now, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of glad Frankie's in a different class because like I don't want him in there with but yeah. So I was just watching the fight with Pedro Munoz again. So while I was doing my jump rope today, and I had Frankie's fight on with Pedro, and it's exactly that, to your point, like you said, with the lightweights, he was able to be more active and get in and get out and move. But like Pedro could match him move for move almost. So like when you watch that fight over again, it was very close, very, very close fight. And it's like they both give as much as they can, you know, give and take. And yeah, I think he is going to have a lot more. Like these fights are going to be a lot more challenging, right? Because these people are going to keep up with him for the pace, and they're going to match him on these things. And yeah, Cory don't get tired training at altitude. Like, come on.
Yeah, those altitude guys. Oh, I hate that.
All right, well, hey, so listen, I also mentioned at the top of the show that Paige VanZant will be in action on Friday in bare-knuckle boxing. She's at Knuckle Mania. She's in the main event against Britain Hart. So I interviewed Britain Hart the other day. She's a really nice girl, and she is obviously talking about this opportunity to fight Paige. If you're on my Karyn Bryant YouTube channel there, and Heat, you can see the interview with Britain. But, you know, Anja, I'm curious what your take is on this because, you know, when Paige left the UFC, I think a lot of people obviously thought she was going to stay in MMA or like leave fighting altogether, right? She was successful in Dancing with the Stars. You know that she can transition that into some other things on camera. And so when she went to boxing, I was a little nervous on the bare knuckle boxing because if I'm honest, like I don't love the bare knuckle. Like the Artem Jason Knight fight and stuff kind of hurt me. And I don't like it. And in this case, I am going to be a little sexist, and I like kind of especially don't like it for the girls because I just don't want to see my friends get smashed in the face and stuff. So, but Paige is so tough. She's a woman who, whatever you want to critique about her technique, nobody ever critiqued her heart. So I am curious what your take is on her going over to bare knuckling and just what to expect.
Oh man, I don't know. I've never really thought her defense was that great.
Okay.
When it comes to striking, I think she has a lot of output, but when it comes to like moving your head off center or things like that to not get like really hit on the way in, I've always felt like her fight IQ was a little off. Okay. And I do worry about her going into bare knuckle where there's very little room for error when it comes to getting hit. Like you get hit with like a glancing jab and that's like your entire face split up. You know, like suddenly you look like a Halloween costume.
Right.
So it's really is really a scary thing to sign up for. And I think skill wise, her fighting this Britain girl, I think it's a good matchup for her. I don't think that the girl's going to come in and just be a demolisher. I think she also has like the same kind of deficiencies when it comes to fight IQ, where she's not really like, I don't know, like when you watch her, I actually got a chance to go and watch her fight with Beck again.
Yeah,
and
right. Yeah, because Britain fought Beck, who you trained with. So for folks who know, you and Beck Rawlings, you know, whenever she's in the States, she's an Alliance girl and stuff. So yeah, she fought Britain and she beat Britain. Britain does say, by the way, that she's much better now, and she doesn't like that performance that she had against her, for whatever it's worth. But go ahead.
I'm sure. But you can see the years of, I guess, expertise when you watch Beck facing a girl like Britain. Like it looks different, you know. It looks like one person has a very solid game plan. The other person's just trying to hit them before they get hit. So I think that this is a good matchup for Paige. I think it's a good entry into the bare knuckle, but yeah, you have to be careful, like what you hit. Like there's certain things, like even Beck told me, like weird things, like an uppercut hurts, you know, because your hand is hitting their chin, and like to throw an uppercut.
Oh, so it hurts to throw it.
Yeah, to throw it. So like your hands are really in danger just as much as your face is. So it's kind of a scary one for me. Like I was always like, oh, I do it. I don't give a fuck about my face. But then I'm like, oh, my hands are gonna get jacked up too. Yes. Like, maybe that's not so fun.
Yes, and you're an artist.
Yeah, I need my hands.
Yes, but also, I mean, but truly, like when you look at your hands, those are tiny little bones and things. It's delicate, you know. It's delicate, and I know when they wrap it, you get some support like right up to the knuckle or something, right? And then they just kind of leave that exposed, but they do at least support the wrist, right?
Yeah, they support the wrist, but like your knuckles can bruise so easily, and then that takes forever to heal. Like if I bruise my knuckles hitting pads, like it takes months for the pain to go away when I throw a hard punch. Yeah. So imagine that without any of the padding on someone's forehead. Like you can't hit them in the forehead, you can't hit them in the chin, or like at least like anywhere that's hard. It takes away, like there's actually a lot less that you can do in bare knuckle boxing than actual boxing. So I'm hoping she has a solid game plan. I hope that she's prepared to hit things with her bare knuckles, you know, and not break it, because she's, you know, Paige, that girl's breaking something every day.
I know. Her poor arm with the 7 surgeries or 97,000, like it sucks.
And her back, like
it sucks. Well, and that's the thing, though. You actually bring up a good point, because just as you can't really train low kicks, right? Because you can't go full force. You can't really train elbows a lot in sparring. I'm talking, obviously, you can train them on the bags and things like that. But I guess in the same way, how ready are you to get punched bare knuckle until you're getting punched bare knuckle, right? Like, you're not going to spar bare knuckle, right?
No, you don't want to get used to that. If anything, it'll be like that dodgeball scene. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a bare knuckle, you know?
Right.
But no, it's definitely something you don't want to practice. It's like, it's just you're just gonna go into the fight damaged. So all you can do is just know that it's not your adrenaline will be up so much that you don't really feel it, but you still have to be prepared for just injuring yourself and not being able to continue. Like that's the scariest part to me, because it's not like in MMA where like you break your hand, I can throw elbows, or I can throw kicks.
No, all you have.
You break your right hand, and it's like, okay, now I'm just gonna jab, and hopefully that works, you know? So yeah, it's a tough one, man. It really is. I actually considered doing bare knuckle until Beck told me, like, you know, how painful it was to land normal punches. And then I'm like, all right, I guess you're tougher than me.
Do not do it. Pulling rank right now. Telling your baby girl you can't do it. I'm gonna call your mom and get her on the phone. Like,
my mom would flip.
No effing way. And also, not for nothing, you know that chocolate people have more scar tissue. I don't need you. I don't need to see that.
I want to look like one of those cool sharks in Shark Week, the old sharks with all the all the white scars on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah. Okay. No thanks. Okay, but listen. Okay. So best of luck to them. But listen, we said at the top of the show as well, we wanted to try to explain some things to folks if they're new to the sport. And Angela, I wanted to ask you today about sweeps. So when I hear the word sweeps, I literally hear Kenny Florian's voice in my head. I worked with him all the time. I love him so much. And I don't know if he was talking about Ryan Hall or somebody, but I remember like, look at that sweep. You know what I mean? And so it's something that can be a standout part of a fight or something that, it is on the highlight reels and really can change the course of a round. So can you explain what that is and why they're so crucial in a fight?
Well, sweep is usually very sneaky. I think that's the most impressive part of it. Is you're literally setting a trap. It's like throwing a banana peel down and the person walks over it and then they fall and then they're like, you're like, haha, you fell into my trap. That's what a sweep is. And most of the stand-up sweeps are like that, where you're putting your foot down in front of where their foot is gonna be, and then they trip over it and they fall on their back and you can jump on top of them or whatever. And there's all sorts of sweeps, all sorts of cool sweeps. You can catch the kick, sweep them there. You can just come in with a cool takedown, use your hips to just like pop their hips over your hips and they fall over your leg like they fell off of your lap. Like there's all sorts of cool sweeps from stand up, cool sweeps from guard, from your back. And the best part about it is that you can be totally down. You can be totally down like even 4 minutes in a round. You get a sweep, you land like heavy blows on top and you can win that round, because you're ending the round strong and like nobody's going to remember the fact that you got laid on for 4 minutes.
Right.
So it's a really cool thing to do, to just show dominance, to embarrass your opponent, to make them more cautious if there's more fight to be had. They don't want to run in against you or get in your guard or take you down because they know you have some like tricky shit up your sleeve. Right. So I love sweeps. Especially like with the Muay Thai background I have, just like all the Muay Thai sweeps that I learned before I started doing MMA. I definitely love getting them on people. It's so fun. It's cool.
And I do, and I agree. Like they always look badass, but it is something when somebody's on the bottom and all of a sudden they're like, what happened was
what
boom.
Happened was I actually
like
had a pretty,
it's the greatest.
I actually got a pretty well-known BJJ guy with that sweep when I was on Tough, but I won't say who.
Don't say. Don't say.
No, he'll be really sad. Like, because he totally watches What Happened Was every episode.
Okay, moving along. So we had set out on Twitter too that we could answer some questions. I know that there was one question that had come in about your first UFC, and I don't know if you went to UFC stuff before you were in it. Like, were you a huge fan of this before you actually were fighting in it? And then what was that like, kind of going to it as a fan and then going to it like as a fighter?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, and my first UFC event that I ever went to, I had already been training Muay Thai for a few years, and a guy who trained at our gym was actually working with the production crew in the UFC, so he hooked us up with tickets, and we got to see Michael Bisping versus Jorge Rivera.
Nice. Let me hop a Louie, right? That's right. That's the spitting. That's the infamous spitting.
Yeah, that's the spitting. But I don't even know if I saw that there because I was just like, oh, what's happening? Like, I totally didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand MMA at the time. I was just like, oh, a punch. I know what that is.
Right.
Oh, a kick.
Right.
You know? But yeah, it was really awesome. Like, I have selfies from it. And
nice.
We met, me and my husband went. We met Dan Mergliata.
Nice.
And we both got pictures with our hands raised, you know?
Nice.
So,
that's
yeah. it's really it was really like one of those odd like full circle moments when I actually got into the UFC and then I went back and saw that photo. I was like, oh shit, who would have thought? But yeah, that was my first fan story of UFC.
It's cool. Yeah, I remember. I wish I could remember exactly which one was the first one I went to, but I went to a few. Like I saw, we were there when Shogun and Lyoto fought. Remember when like Shogun kind of beat Lyoto, but like he didn't get the win? Do you know what I mean? And then they had the rematch eventually, and Shogun beat him for, again, and got the title. But like, so we were at that one because that was down in LA, and I'd gone to a few, and even I have like this picture with me and Dana. Yeah, same thing, like with the Merkley, like me and Dana, like before I even worked there or anything. And I think I got one with like Pettis or something, or I don't even know. So that was a long time ago. And then for MMA Heat, we kept trying to get credentialed. For people who don't know, there's like a whole process you have to go through if you're an outlet to get credentialed. And back when we were first starting to do this in 2007 and stuff, the woman that ran the credentialing was like notoriously like really tough to deal with. And so the first one we ever got credentialed for was when Kane beat Brock. Kane beat Brock in Orange County, right? It's like, it was amazing. Like, it was amazing. Because Kane's amazing, right? And so we were there, but like we were like all fired up and like, oh my God. But we didn't really know like how the media room worked. And so we brought like the cameras and everything. We didn't know that people uploaded everything from right there to get it out right away. So we were there filming all this stuff. And then we were like, oh, they put it out right from the back room here. Cool. So that was a lesson we only needed to learn once. You know what I mean? But we, and actually now that I think back, I think that was the same day Pacquiao was fighting Juan Manuel Marquez again. And like those fights were always amazing. And I remember Dana bought, and if it wasn't the same night, it was a different night, but Dana bought the pay-per-view boxing for all of us in the media room. And so we were like all working, and I remember watching that. And I used to work in boxing and covered Marquez fights or whatever. So it was a full circle again thing, kind of like yours. Folks should see, you see these graphics right here, folks, by the way, just so you know, this is the kind of high-end graphics Angela and I are going to be bringing to the show. We do demos.
Yes, demos. Oh, I forgot to demo the sweep. It's like you're walking forward and then you go boop, you fall over. Yeah.
And then or like you're underneath and then whoops, boops, I'm on top.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's a good one.
All right, so let me see if there's any more questions in here. But I know one question people always have for you, Angela, is when's your next fight?
I don't know. I'm still waiting. I'm calling out everyone. Hey, hoes, you want to fight me? Come at me. I'm ready tomorrow. Let's go. Let's get paid, man. Like, I don't know why these girls don't want to fight. I don't know why, but we'll see. Hopefully in the next couple of months. I'm bugging Mick every day, so we'll see.
Mick's a good guy. Okay, well, here's one question that came in from Scott McCrate. He's saying, let's say the UFC said that Justin Gaethje said he needed one more fight to get a title shot. Who would you fight? Who would you have him fight? Gaethje. To get another shot.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, yeah, we were talking about this the other day, and like, yeah, if Chandler doesn't get the title fight, I think that would be an amazing fight. I think it really would.
Gaethje versus Chandler.
Gaethje versus Chandler, because a lot of people are still kind of saying that the Chandler Chandler versus Hooker was a fluke, and I think this would be I don't believe that, but I think that would be a great way for like, two sluggers, two people who throw hooks, like crazy power. Gaethje also has scary leg kicks, which is what a lot of people thought Hooker was gonna be able to just take advantage of Chandler with. So I think that would be a really great test for Chandler. I think it would be an amazing fight for Gaethje. I think they will both show out, and somebody's going to get a highlight reel finish. So, yeah, I'd like that fight for sure.
That would be actually really great. And I guess that kind of begs the question then, though, what do you think is right for the lightweight title picture? Because I'm cool with Poirier versus Oliveira for the title.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it too.
But I'm also okay if it's Poirier Chandler.
Yeah,
but I guess the only reason guess I'm such as almost said a bad word, effing simp for Charles Oliveira though. Like I have been for a long time. I just think he's awesome. I just always have. And I also, it's not even just his fighting style. Like I just like his look. Like
Is it the hair?
His
It's the hair, isn't it? It's the hair, isn't it?
It's the hair. Honestly, for me, it's this. It's the cheekbone thing. And he's like almost kind of, and I mean this as a compliment, reptilian. Like in this really funky, like I think of him as, now I'm sounding like a weirdo. But like, Dan Hardy's always talking about the reptile brain and stuff like that. And like Charles Oliveira to me is like that guy that like his body seems like perfectly made to do what he does, if you know what I'm saying. Like he's so perfectly made, right, to be a submission artist. And like, so I'm fascinated by watching him do what he very clearly was put on earth to do.
I've never seen a reptile that could grapple though. They're more like
but Don't gators? Isn't that how we get the gator roll?
Oh, that's true. He does have that gator grip. So there you go. You're right, Karyn. So excuse me. Sorry. You.
And anacondas, are they not reptiles?
Yes. Yeah, snakes are reptiles, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I need to get back on
there
my
may or may not be an anaconda choke.
There you go. Yo, you're so right. I think it's because he looks more like a kangaroo to me that I was like, I don't know, Karyn.
Why does he seem like a kangaroo?
He looks like they have the same cheekbone thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know I saw the weirdest thing the other day that kangaroos drown their prey? There was some weird thing I saw on Twitter. I don't know whose it was. And they were like, crazy. Yo, be careful if you're ever on the side of a pond and a kangaroo is there. There was a dog. People back me up if you saw this. A dog goes in the water and the kangaroo like drowns it.
Whoa. That's crazy.
It's crazy and it's on the internet, so it's true.
Yeah, it definitely happened. That's nuts. All right, I'm staying away from kangaroos and marshes.
Totally. All right, wait, let me see. No, because I didn't. Those were the questions I got were sort of about like our first experiences and things like that. So let's see if you have some other questions here. Okay. So a person named Hayden something is asking, a lot of the fighters were saying that it was difficult to perform well in the COVID era without the crowd. And so what's your take on that? And did the crowd have any effect on you? Because you fought there in December, right? Right.
So September and May, I think.
Because some fighters, on our end doing all these interviews and stuff, they're like, some of them really like not having the crowd because they can hear their corners, and they also feel like if they're people who sometimes excel in the gym, the pressure of the fight night they don't feel it the same, and they feel like loose and comfortable like it's a gym session, and they feel like they can excel. Meanwhile, the other side of the coin is some people don't like it because they're like, the crowd brings me up and now I don't have it. So
and I think those are really the two opinions, right? Like, I think it depends on what type of performer you are. Like, for me, I block out the crowd when I get out there. Yeah. And the best part for me is walking back from the fight, and then the crowd is like, oh, yeah, bravo, encore. So that's the best part for me with the crowd. But before I fight, I'm like, fuck the crowd. I'm like, tunnel vision, go to the cage, get ready. You're about to, like, punch this girl in the face. And I think that a lot of people who didn't get into fighting because they like to perform, like you said, a lot of people who do really well in the gym, and I think I'm one of those people who I do really well in the gym, but then I get that little bit of stage fright in the fight, and it can slow you down a bit. So I feel like it makes it a little more comfortable for people like that, for athletes like that who get that little bit of oh wait a second, there's a lot of people in the stands, they oohed when they punched me there and nothing happened, why are they oohing, like little stuff can pop into your head while you're fighting just because of the influence of the crowd. So it was nice for me just to have that focus of attention on punching a girl in the face and hearing the corner's suggestions, like,
right.
bah, 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 corner says, try this, bah, 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 okay, I'll try this, and it makes it a more focused fight, I feel like. So I don't mind it. Like, I do like having a crowd. And I think now that I'm more experienced, having a crowd isn't a big deal for me, but it was nice to have that, like, kind of that silence and that, I guess, zen moment where you don't really have to block anything out. You're just going out there and fighting. Like, there's no focusing. You're already focused because there's nothing else to focus on. So that was kind of nice for me.
Yeah, the only thing that's tough for me is I feel bad for guys like, I watched Anderson Silva have his last UFC fight with no crowd.
Yeah.
I watched Little Nog have his last fight with no crowd. It's like that kind of thing where I know that these guys deserve more and they should have left to an arena of people crying. You know what I mean? And the Jumbotron playing their greatest hits. And so that part bums me out for those guys. And, but I agree. Like kind of spoiled at the Apex and at Fight Island, seeing amazing things like right in front of you, no crowd. It's you sort of feel like, I don't know, that's what rich royals must feel like, where there's just like people. I was watching Gladiator again the other night, and I'm like, you almost feel like that at Apex sometimes.
Yeah.
But like,
give him the split decision.
Yeah, but like, it's pretty amazing, and I think I'm like, holy crap! Like, I'm seeing like this amazing stuff, and there's nobody here. Like, it does feel really special to us on the production side, even. But I do know, like, there's some people where I'm like, man, I just feel bad that you didn't have 20,000 people cheering when you sank that armbar in or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you deserve it. That's the thing that,
And that's the part that I miss the most is the after the fight, and just being able to soak up all the congratulations. Right. And even when you lose, you get that applaud on your way out. People are like, you won that fight, or people are like, you keep your head up, or I love their fights, and they make you feel better about losing. Like, okay, I guess as long as they're happy, then I'm happy, so it makes that walk way less anticlimactic, and I think that was the saddest part with my last two fights, is that I had these like close decision losses, and it was so anticlimactic. Like, there was no speech afterwards. Right. There was no, like, I'm literally just like, fucking stupid. Where are the judges? There's
not even a lobby of people to walk through at the hotel. It's just other fighters. You're like,
just,
what's
kind
up?
of hobble through. Like, some coaches were like, oh, you won a film. I'm like, great, thanks. and that's it. So it is very, I don't know, just it's a very lonely feeling losing in that environment. Yeah. I feel like, as opposed to when the fans are there, when the fans are very appreciative, and like, we can talk shit about MMA fans, but live, like in the arena, like, they are the most awesome people ever. Like, they are never rude, they are never discouraging, they're always so amped to see you, and so like just like happy to be in your presence, that it makes you feel like, okay, yeah, this is worth it, even with the ups and downs. Like, this is definitely something that people appreciate. And it does suck to not have those fans there, because then all you see are the negative guys who are in the corner in their mom's basement just going, so yeah, that part is definitely a little sad, and it's cool that we have fans now. Or at least in Abu Dhabi. I don't know, are they going to do fans in
I don't think there's going to be fans at Apex. I don't think so.
That sucks. Yeah.
But yeah, no, fans are amazing, and I've gotten to go, obviously cover the UFC around the world, and so it's been amazing, to be in Brazil and to hear the "Oi vai morrer," "Oi vai morrer," and like the whole building is freaking bouncing with it, and it's amazing. Like, I've seen some incredible stuff. The first time, the UFC ever was in Copenhagen, I got to be there for that. The first time it was ever over in Sweden was there. And like, it is one of those things where if I can, I like to walk out to the arena when it's time for the pay-per-view and Baba O'Reilly is starting to kick on. Like, whenever that comes on, the fight montage, like, I always like to go out in the arena and look at the crowd because you do, especially in a place like Copenhagen, like, you're like, they've never seen this in person. Like, this is going to be so dope. And you go and you just kind of watch people, like, minds get blown, you know what I mean? By that promo is so sick. And you're out there and I'm like, obviously I'm not a fighter, but even if I'm like standing in the tunnel or whatever, I get people like, yo, KB. And then like you're out, you know, high five, and I'm like, this is awesome. So personally, I really miss the crowds. I really do. But that said, I'm not mad that I've been spoiled and having some like amazing stuff right in front of my eyes. Just
hell yeah. Gobbling it up.
I know. All right. Well, listen. So so this weekend I am working the fights. We will have a UFC live on ESPN2 on Friday afternoon. Then we also do a pre-show on ESPN Plus. Then I will have the post-show. I believe I will be flanked by Michael Bisping and Alan Joban. So, you know, nobody interesting that you'd want to tune in for. I also just, like I said, have an interview with Britain Hart out, the woman who is fighting Paige VanZant on Friday at Bare-knuckle Boxing's Knucklemania. Brand new interviews with Molly McGann and Beneil Dariush as well. Those guys are both fighting this weekend, so you can check them out on my Karyn Bryant YouTube channel or on MMAheat.com. Angela, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Angie Overkill. I also have a podcast called the Ceremonial Weigh-In Podcast, which is just as important as the ceremonial weigh-in in the UFC. So tune into both of those. The podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Buzzsprout. So, yeah.
There you go. Yes, on Twitter, I'm at Karyn Bryant. On Instagram, KB Heat. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, you're on my Karyn Bryant channel, hit subscribe. If you're watching this on IGTV, on Angie's channel, then make sure you're following both of us. And so what happened was, if you ever have questions, just leave them in the comments and we'll make sure we take care of you.
Yeah, we'll tell you what happened.
See ya.
Peace.
Okay.
Yay.